So I decided to make some more Reuteri or Reuteri or however you want to pronounce it, using the batch that I had previously made as my starter. I've done this before, but this is a different batch, so just thought I would give this one a go. So I added in 2 tablespoons of this to the same coconut yogurt that I have been making all along. And here's the thing. When you live with chronic illness, which includes chronic fatigue, chronic brain fog, and chronic memory problems, you can forget all kinds of important things. And in the case of this video, that includes hitting record. More than once, I forgot to hit record when I did what I was doing with the yogurt, so you don't get to see everything that I was doing. I missed recording making of everything on the stove, but that is exactly the same stuff as I've done all along. So if you're curious how that looks, you can watch any of my other videos making the yogurt, and it's the same thing. So instead of adding in the pills, I added in the scoops of the starter yogurt here. And you can see here I am setting it down to 95 degrees because this is, although this is the replacement ultimate probiotic yogurt maker, it does still get too high sometimes. So I wanted to set it a little lower just to make sure it was going to be okay. So other than not pressing record, everything seemed to be going fine at this point. So then with 28 hours left, I decided to check the temperature and see how things are going. You notice I've got lots of water in there and everything is quite stable. And I gave it a look and it seemed okay. And of course I did check the temperature and forgot to hit record on that part too, so you don't get to see that, but it did get up to 117 degrees, which is way too hot for Reuteri. That basically means that it was dead. So, but because the yogurt looked fine and smelled fine, I decided to go ahead and throw in some different probiotic while it was going still. So this is my old standby probiotic that I use, that I had taken for years already, and then started making yogurt out of a while ago in my Ninja Foodie, which does bring it to a much higher temperature, and yet it comes out as really good coconut yogurt. So I decided, why not try that in this one, and then I don't have to worry so much about the temperature, and hopefully save this batch of yogurt, even though the Reuteri would be dead for sure. So, but apparently that might be edible as well, and potentially useful for your digestion even after it's died. So who knows? But I'm trying it anyway. So that way I'm saving the batch, because, you know, the coconut milk itself is not the cheapest thing to keep losing on bad yogurt either. So when I checked it with 24 hours to go, the temperature was actually more acceptable, which is funny because I wouldn't really care with the new probiotic, but that's how this one went. And then again, when I checked it a while later, we're still kind of a little higher temperature than it should be for being set at 95, but still technically would have been okay for the old probiotic if it hadn't already gotten up to 117 previously. You can see there's lots of good stuff going on there. It's definitely fermenting. And then when it's time to take it out, I am at about 36 hours, maybe a little over 36, but not much. You can see there's still 3 hours left on the machine there, but that's because I set it for a higher number of hours just so that I had some room to play with. And we'll check the temperature one more time just to see what we end up with. And amazingly, it starts off okay, but then we're still actually technically maybe not too bad until we hit 111, and that would have definitely again killed off all the Reuteri, but not the other stuff that I had put in partway through. So this one seemed like a failed batch, but I think I did rescue it because of the new probiotic that I put in there, and because it didn't develop any kind of mold or fungus or anything, and I ended up with a good fermentation. And I have to say, I decided to use this one just as that batch of standard yogurt, and it has been really nice. I have eaten it a few times now, and it's tasted great and not caused me any problems. So I'm ultimately glad I was able to save this batch, although very disappointed that the yogurt maker did not come through for me, even though this is a replacement one. And you can see in there I did use a skewer to keep it off the bottom a little bit, and you can see definitely lots of separating there, That seems to be just generally what happens when you make this stuff with coconut milk. But in the end, I think I can still call this one a win, so I am happy about that. So thank you for watching. I have more coming. There's some interesting developments that have happened since I made this video. One of them, I'll give you a little teaser here, that with this issue going on with the Ultimate, I decided to contact them and let them know what was going on with this replacement unit. And they were very quick to respond, and I'm really happy with their response. And so far, things are actually looking much better these days. So I'll give you a little bit more information about that in the next video.